Hi folks, and welcome to the latest update on Salterbeck. In the last video, you'll have seen how I started to create a small harbour scene and a 3D backdrop. And so the last major element was to kind of do the near ground scene around the harbour area, and then moving on to the wagon repair yard and the yard itself. So starting with the harbour area, the water is now set with my second attempt at the PVA. This time making sure that there weren't any bubbles through the drying process, and I also sped it up this time by drying it in a warmer part of the house, which helped I think. It's still not 100% perfect, with the glue having dried a little white in places rather than the perfectly clear that I wanted, but I'm going to leave it for now and have a bit more of a think about whether I'm going to stick with it or try again, or maybe use a different technique. I'm not quite sure. With that complete, I started on the area between the harbour and the yard. And I've been wondering about exactly what to put here. From researching some photos of the current yard, that was roughly basing this on, there is a few offices and buildings around the site, which look like quite a good fit. As you might recall, in one of the earlier videos, around New Year, I found a box of old grain farish buildings from my old Magnum layout, and got me wondering, well, what are the latest farish buildings like? And then I happened upon this building from looking through the latest grain farish scale scenes range, which isn't a million miles away from some of the design of some of the buildings at Curragh. So obviously they're on colour brick. It's dark brick rather than red brick. And so I thought I'd give it a try, see if I could paint it to give more of a redder brick effect. That said, one of the things I really enjoy about making layouts is scratch building the buildings. So although I'm happy with it, I don't think I'll be going down this route again. I think I'd rather make my own buildings. It's just not as much fun for me, I don't think. With the building planted on the layout, with a bit of PVA, I then added some paths around it, just using some card wrapped with scale scene concrete print. And at the front, added a little, sort of small little car park using sandpaper that I painted in a sort of grey colour. And then applied some PVA glue around the building and the harbour area, and started to stick down some static grass in 4mm and 2mm. I've used a static grass dispenser in the past to mix results, and so I thought I'd use the same technique that I used for the clumps around the stabling area, which you can see in this video. This works quite well for a small area, but obviously wouldn't work if you've got a much larger area. But yeah, you just kind of put the PVA glue down, take a little clump of grass, and just kind of put it in place. And yeah, I think it works. It works quite reasonably well. With that dry, and then added a few bits of leaf foliage and some of the Woodland Scenics Plyfibre, just to sort of mix it up a little bit, so it's all not nice. It's not nice uniform grass, because that's not the look I'm looking for. And then the only bit left to do was the wagon yard. And for this, I did go back to my old scratch building. As I mentioned earlier, this is roughly based on the wagon repair yard at Curragh, which itself is an old engine shed, I believe, or was. And so I drew up a rough template of this, sort of measured out on the layout to try and work out the right size and where the door should be, etc. And then drew that up in Inkscape, printed out some overlays, stuck them to card, and then just cut around the card, or cut around the markings on the side, and then wrap that in red brick paper. For the doors, which are quite a nice distinctive sort of red and black pattern from the prototype, I printed that out separately on cards, and then put the little yellow strips as door dividers. And then to finish it off, added a strip of painted grey card above the doors. To provide a bit of variation, I also added the sort of, I think what looks like a newer, taller building at the side, which is sort of half brick, half, it's not quite corrugated iron, but something like that. Again, I drew this up in Inkscape and then used a sort of card for the base. But for the upper structure, I had some textured plastic card, which I used, just painted it grey, and then to give that kind of corrugated effect of the prototype. What I've been up to since then is just kind of a little bit of detailing around the yard, so that the hard standing looked far too clean. So to give it kind of more of a weathered look, I took some coal dust from Peco and just rubbed that in with my finger just to give it a nice grimy look. Between the tracks, rather than the thick clumps, I noticed in one of the photos it's more a sort of lower lying grass, almost like moss. So to give that effect, just use some of the green weathering powder I'd used around the harbour, and a little bit more black wash and dirt and grime. Yeah, just to kind of give it more of that weathered look. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm up to. This might be the last major update video on it, because I don't think there's any kind of major updates needed for it. So yeah, we'll maybe call it a finalish version for this. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this update. Let me know what you think in the comments section below, and I'll see you all next time.